All right, we're getting there. All right, well, good morning. Wow, well done. Okay. It's great to be with you. It's a beautiful day. We're excited. We're going to continue our series talking about faith and the fears we have in this life. And I'm so excited that we get to continue this conversation. We're going to look at something that so one of my mentors told me a long time ago. He preaches on two things. One, he knows something about, quite a bit about, and things that he is struggling to figure out. I generally lean to the one I don't have a clue about, because that's usually most of what I'm understanding is nothing. But today we're going to talk about something I'm pretty familiar with. It's called the fear of rejection and the fear of failure. And so what do we do with those fears, and how do we have faith through those? But in the meantime, let's sing some songs. Let's bring that stuff to God. Let's talk about that stuff. We're going to start with a song called Great Things. You can sit, stand, kneel, however is a posture of worship for you. But let's start with a song called Great Things. My soul proclaims your greatness, Lord, rejoicing in my Savior. Your mercy belongs to those who fear your Son. His blessing you have given them forever. And holy is his name. Holy is his name. You alone have done great things. I can't boast of anything. Mighty one and King of kings, Jesus. You alone have done great things. By your living word in me, mighty one and King of kings, Jesus. My soul proclaims your greatness, Lord, rejoicing in my Savior. Your mercy belongs to those who fear your Son. His blessing you have given them forever. And holy is his name. Holy is his name. You alone have done great things. I can't boast of anything. Mighty one and King of kings, Jesus. You alone have done great things. By your living word in me, mighty one and King of kings, Jesus. And it's your name we're shouting out loud. 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 And it's your name we're shouting out loud. It's your name we're shouting out loud. It's your name we're shouting out loud. It's your name we're shouting out. You alone have done great things. I can't boast of anything. Mighty one and King of kings, Jesus. You alone have done great things. By your living word in me, mighty one and King of kings, Well, it's your name we're shouting out loud. It's your name we're shouting out loud. It's your name we're shouting out loud. It's your name we're shouting out. Okay, sorry. My hand is really cramping up, and it's really hard to play the guitar when your hand cramps. I don't know if you knew this. Honey in the rock, water in the stone, manna on the ground, no matter where I go. I don't need to worry now that I know everything I need you got. There's honey in the rock.
Praying for a miracle, thirsty for the living well. Only you can satisfy. Sweetness at the mercy seat. Now I've tasted, it's not hard to see. Only you can satisfy. There's honey in the rock, honey in the rock, honey in the rock.
Honey in the rock, honey in the rock.
Freedom where the Spirit is, bounty in the wilderness. You will always satisfy. Freedom where the Spirit is, bounty in the wilderness. You will always satisfy.
Honey in the rock, water in the stone,
Manna on the ground, no matter where I go.
I don't need to worry now that I know everything I need you got. It's honey in the rock, purpose in your plan, power in the blood, healing in your hands. Started flowing when you said it is done. Everything you did is enough. I keep looking, I keep fighting. You keep praying, keep providing. I have all that I need. You have all that I need. I keep praying, you keep moving. I keep praising, you keep proving. I have all that I need. You are all that I need. I keep looking, you keep fighting. I keep giving, keep providing. I have all that I need. You are all that I need. I keep praying, you keep moving. I keep praising, you keep proving. I have all that I need. You are all that I need. I have all that I need. You are all that I need. Yeah. There's honey in the rock, water in the stone, manna on the ground, no matter where I go. I don't need to worry now that I know everything I need you got. There's honey in the rock, purpose in your plan, power in the blood, healing in your hands. Started flowing when you said it is done. Everything you did is enough. There's honey in the rock, water in the stone, manna on the ground, no matter where I go. I don't need to worry now that I know everything I need you got. There's honey in the rock,
Purpose in your plan,
power in the blood, healing in your hands. Started flowing when you said it is done. Everything you did is enough. There's honey in the rock, honey in the rock, honey in the rock, honey in the rock. Oh, how sweet it is to trust in you, Jesus. Oh, how sweet it is to trust in you, Jesus. Oh, how sweet it is to trust in you, Jesus. There's a place mercy reigns and never dies. There's a place where streams of grace flow deep and wide, where all the love I've ever found comes like a flood, comes flowing down. At the cross, I surrender my life. I'm in awe of you. I'm in awe of you. Where your love ran red and my sin washed white, I owe all to you. I owe all to you, Jesus. There's a place where sin and shame are powerless, where my heart has peace with God and forgiveness. Where all the love I've ever found comes like a flood, comes flowing down. At the cross, I surrender my life. I'm in awe of you. I'm in awe of you. Where your love ran red and my sin washed white, I owe all to you. I owe all to you. Here my hope is found, here on holy ground. Here I bow down, here I bow down. Here arms open wide, here you save my life. Here I bow down, here I bow down. Here my hope is found, here on holy ground. Here I bow down, here I bow down. Here arms open wide, here you save my life. Here I bow down, here I bow. At the cross, I surrender my life. I'm in awe of you. I'm in awe of you. Where your love ran red and my sin washed white, I owe all to you. I owe all to you. At the cross, I surrender my life. I'm in awe of you. I'm in awe of you. Where your love ran red and my sin washed white, I owe all to you. I owe all to you, Jesus.
Great is thy faithfulness, O God my Father. There is no no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever wilt be. Summer and winter and springtime and harvest, sun, moon, and stars in their courses above, join with all nature in manifold witness to thy great faithfulness, mercy, and love. Beginning to end, my life in your hands. Great, great is your faithfulness. You never let go. There's one thing I know. Great, great is your faithfulness. Pardon for sin and a peace that endureth, thine own dear presence to cheer and to guide, strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow, blessings all mine with 10,000 beside. Beginning to end, my life in your hands. Great, great is your faithfulness. You never let go. There's one thing I know. Great, great is your faithfulness. Beginning to end, my life in your hands. Great, great is your faithfulness. You never let go. There's one thing I know. Great, great is your faithfulness. Beginning to end, my life in your hands. Great, great is your faithfulness. You never let go. There's one thing I know. Great, great is your faithfulness. Oh, great, great is your faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me.
Lord, your faithfulness and your mercy is new every morning, every single day. Thank you for that. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being an ever-present and a constant in our lives. Even when we don't see you, feel you, or understand you, you are there. Help us to hold that a little bit closer to our heart this morning. And as we go through our time of teaching this morning, we're talking about failure. We're talking about rejection. Help us to understand that you are faithful. When we're looking for everything else to guide us and lead us, to understand that you are faithful. Thank you, Jesus. In your name, amen. All right, well, good morning now. It's the awkward transition, and I still have yet to figure this out, but we'll get it. So my name is Kirby. I'm the lead pastor here, and so a couple housekeeping things. If you're a regular part of Living Hope, you know that we have been slowly making the transition in our database system and giving platforms and all this stuff. It's to make it easier on your end, but also, frankly, selfishly, it's easier on our end too. It's going to be so much better. New website, new app, new giving platform, and all that stuff. So if you have a recurring gift, you're going to have to make that switch over. And if you need help with that, you can talk to Jess. You can talk to myself. We'll figure that out. If you want to know more information on anything in the church, all the social media stuff is there. You can look there. We have newsletters that go out. And if you are a regular attender, you brought your tithes, you brought your offering, you can do that in the black box. Or you can do that through the new app. It's really, really easy. Set up a recurring gift and all that stuff. I think that is pretty well it. We had a great time in the last couple weeks in camp, and then we have kids camp coming in July out in Rapid City. And we have a little recap video coming up soon to kind of show you the stuff for middle school and high school. So we'll let you know when that's coming. But if you have any other questions, anything about the church, about me, about Madison or whatever, come find us. We'd love to help you. But with that, let's go into our time of teaching. And I'm going to get one more drink so my hand doesn't cramp up. That was a double-duty microphone right there. So it's all good. It's all good. So thank you, Nick. All right. So I think one of the things, if we would talk to or read like reports from psychologists, social psychologists, people much smarter than me, one of the things that they will tell you is that when we talk about fears in our lives, when we talk about some of the struggles that we have in people's lives, out of the top 5 fears that plague most of us, 2 of them are almost a constant in the lives of the people. They're fear of failure and the fear of rejection. The fear of rejection and the fear of failure, top 5 fears, they're 2 of the top 5 fears all the time in people's lives. Because the fear of failure tends to paralyze us from moving forward. It keeps us from taking those steps that need to get done to be able to reach whatever next goal, next thing that we got, because we're so afraid of the failure. And then we have the fear of rejection. And that limits us in many ways because we want to make sure we look like we know what we're doing. We want to have this battle going on, but it keeps us from moving forward because it changes our self-worth. It changes our identity into thinking it's something that it's not. But the reality is the fear of failure and the fear of rejection are very real. There's something that we all struggle with at some point on some level. So the fear of failure, the fear of rejection happens to all of us on some level. It's part of life. How we respond to them is so, so important, but it's also important to understand the proper perspective when we are experiencing these very real fears. For a while now, there's this kind of letter that pops up on social media every now and then. It's kind of a funny little thing, and the words change, the names change. I don't even know if it's a real letter, but it's great nonetheless. And it's this letter that's composed and written to a university. So a person applies to be a professor, and they get a letter back from the university, and in response to the university, this candidate writes this. Dear Professor Millington, thank you for your letter on March 16th. After careful consideration, I regret to inform you that I am unable to accept your refusal to offer me an assistant professor position in your department. This year, I have been particularly fortunate in receiving an unusually large number of rejection letters. With such a varied and promising field of candidates, it is impossible for me to accept all the refusals. Despite the school's outstanding qualifications and previous experience in rejecting applicants, I find that your rejection does not meet my needs at this time. Therefore, I will assume the position of assistant professor in your department this August. I look forward to seeing you then. Best of luck in your rejecting future applicants. Isn't that great? It's so great. And we'll see it in various forms, but I love it. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't accept your rejection. I just can't do it. I can't accept your rejection. I can't accept what is going on. So unfortunately, I'm not able to accept it. But what are those things for you right now? What are those rejections? What are those failures that you're going through right now? What's happened in your life and the reality of failure? What is that fear of rejection? Family, job, life. What is that thing that you've got going? Because somehow, somebody, something has told you, hey, you're not lovable. You're not talented. You're not skilled. You're not good. What are those fears in your life right now? Because we have allowed society to dictate what is important, what's vital. We've allowed them to dictate our self-worth based on the things that we have accomplished or what we can do. So to understand this, what I want to do is I want to look at a story in the Bible, and it talks a lot about this. It's found in Luke chapter 10, and it's about this story about this lady named Martha and her sister Mary. And it's this beautiful story about who Martha is, and it's going to unpack a lot of this. Now, I found this acronym. This acronym, I think, is applicable to where we're at. I don't think it applies to every fear. I didn't even create this because it's too smart for me, but I love this acronym based on what we're talking about. The acronym is this for fear. False evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. I don't think that applies to everything. Okay, I see these pictures of these guys and these gals standing on top of like wind turbines or satellite towers. That's a real thing. That's not false evidence. Like I could fall and die, okay? But we're talking about fear of rejection, fear of failure. So I think this applies because what happens, all of these things, we start to think about the rejection and failure. We start to take it on and it shapes our mind. It shapes who we are. We start to think, this is who I am. They've placed this upon me and this is who I am. This is what I've become. But it's false. It's false evidence. It's not real, but we've taken it on because of what it appears to be. And so in the story we're going to look at Martha, who has a false idea of where her worth is, where she found her value, where she found her purpose, and all of this stuff. She is someone, now I love Martha. Martha is someone who is so loyal. Martha is strong. Martha is smart. Martha is, one of her gifts, one of her talents is hospitality. She just cares for people. She loves people. She serves people. She has a strong relationship with the Lord. We'll see that all through the stories that we read about her. But on this day, she had a really bad afternoon. You ever had a bad afternoon? Boy, I've had bad afternoons. Now, thankfully, my bad afternoon, my bad day was not written down for every generation to read about for the rest of eternity. But she had a bad day. She had a bad afternoon, right? Her gift is hospitality, right? Every tongue gets to read about this. Now, a lot of people have judged her. They've written her off because of this one experience, but I think we can get a lot from her about faithfulness, about rejection, about failure. Let's look at this. In Luke chapter 10, we're going to start down at verse 38 is when we pick up the story of Martha. As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work all by myself? Tell her to help me. There's a lot in there, isn't there? Even in this little section, there's a lot. Now, a few things we need to understand about the first century Jewish culture for women. First century Jewish culture women had two ways that they got their purpose and they got their identity. The first one was through marriage. Whatever their husband did, their status in society, whatever their husband did for work, for life, that gave the woman their purpose. Now, this is first century Judaism, okay? It gave this woman purpose. The second way they got their purpose is through childbirth, specifically giving their husband children. More specifically, giving their husband male children. This is where a first century Jewish woman would get their value. Okay? So that we got to keep that in mind. Now, here's a little bit about what we know about Mary and Martha. When we read about Mary and Martha in Scripture, they're together, right? It's like Cagney and Lacey, Batman and Robin, like these two are always together and they're sisters. Now, I don't know about you and your relationships with your siblings, but I don't want to spend that much time with my sisters. I don't. I love them, but not that much. Okay? Now, but here's the thing. They're together all the time. And so we can kind of try to read between their lines a little bit. In every story we read about them, their husband's not around. Okay, so it might tell us a couple things. One, their husband probably has died. That's very common. There's generally in that age, there was a huge age difference. So their husband possibly had died. There's a possibility they never married. That's probably less realistic, but it's possible. We don't see anything about their children. Okay, so now, are you picking up on this? What are the two ways that these Jewish women could find value? Marriage and childbirth. Neither of them have it. And they move in together, and they live together. Already, Martha has 2 strikes against her in society, saying, you're not worth that much to us because you have no status and you have no children, right? And so Mary and Martha are this. And Martha, right off the bat, says, I need to find my value. I'm good at serving people. I'm good at adding value to people. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lean into this. And so this is who she says, because the society says, Martha, you have little, no value. But she says, I do have value. I'm going to start serving. So she starts to serve. And we read in John 12 that that's the identifier of Martha. John 12 says, Martha loved to serve. And I imagine this. So these disciples are coming in. They're tired. They're wore out. They're hungry. They're thirsty. And Martha and Mary knew they were coming. And long before they ever showed up, Martha's getting things ready. Right? She's getting preparations. She's getting the food ready. She's getting Jesus' lazy boy ready. Right? All the table, right? All the stuff. She's getting anything that needed to happen. Who thought about it? Martha did. Because this is Martha's gift. This is Martha's skill. She says, this is how I'm going to add value. And so the Bible tells us that from the inside of the home, this is where the story picks up. They're inside of the home after a long day of traveling, all this stuff. They sit around. And the story simply says Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. You get this. Think about Thanksgiving. Is there a distraction going on? The oven's going on and it's beeping or there's smoke. Oh, I got to baste the turkey, right? If the temperature's not right, Dad, right? Going to that thermostat, stop touching my thermostat, right? There's preparations, right? If there's dogs, you got to prepare for that. If there's pillows, you got to set them out. You got to clean the house. We know about preparations, don't we? Do we not? We understand preparation. This is what Martha's busy doing. She's busy preparing. She's preparing for Jesus. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine preparing for Jesus? And all this stuff, and then she's doing all this stuff. Where's my sister? Where's Mary? Sitting down. Look, like I said, I've got 3 siblings. I got an older brother and 2 younger sisters. Maybe you have a sibling. You ever been busy during a holiday doing preparations, or mom and dad have been busy preparations, and there's always that one sibling who's like just in the corner, coloring, doing something, not carrying their weight. You know what I'm talking about? If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's probably you, all right? So here's the thing. She looks at Mary, and Mary's just sitting there. They're not doing anything. And so then when company comes, you think about this? Mom and dad give you that pep talk. Look, company's coming over. Be on your best behavior. Right? Right? I'm 46 years old. Mom still talks to me this way. It still happens. Because we can't talk to our siblings the way we want to when company comes, right? Can you imagine if Jesus was your company? Think of the way you're going to be talking. Would thou like some chicken? Right? I mean, everything changes. Our verbiage changes. Our conversation changes. Everything about it changes. Now we're like, I want to hit my sister, but I can't, right? We're on our best behavior. This is Jesus. And Martha comes in, and she says, Lord, don't you care that my sister isn't doing her job? She left me to do all the work. Don't you care? And can you just feel the room? The room is like, oh, right? And it's that awkward silence, like nobody say anything. She just talked to Jesus this way, right? And she's the same way. She's like, oh, Jesus, I didn't mean it, right? And she kind of goes this thing. But she's like, I'm doing all of this by myself. I'm just doing it. And Mary, maybe she's trying to get Mary's attention. Mary's sitting there with Jesus. And she's like, would anybody like some more water? Mary, would you please help Jesus get some water? Right? Maybe she's trying to spur him on. We don't know. But she's reached her limit. She's done. I've been doing all this work, and there's my sister doing absolutely nothing. Lord, don't you care? It's more of a statement than a question. Like, Jesus, don't you, look at me. I want to be seen. I'm working so hard. I'm doing all of these preparations. I am so overwhelmed, and nobody is helping me. It's this cry, this expression of faith. And she's like, no. I can't believe I said that to Jesus, but it's Martha. And she says, Jesus, don't you care? Don't you care that all of this is doing, that I'm working so hard, that I'm using my skill set to serve you? Don't you care that I'm using the gifts that you gave me to serve you? And it's not enough. Why is this not working? Would you do something? And Martha's struggling with this fear of failure. She has this one gift. She's found her way to find value in a society that says you have no value. And she's found a way to do it, but now she can't even do that right because the preparations aren't ready. They're not going to get fed. They're not going to be comfortable. They're not going to have water. Don't you see me? I'm going to fail at the one thing that you said I am good at. Along with that is the fear of rejection. If I can't take care of Jesus and the disciples, word's going to get out into the community, and I'll never be able to do this again. I have failed Jesus. She failed Jesus using the skill set that she has. She's not even any good anymore. Will I be able to do this? Will anybody notice? Jesus, don't you care about my job situation? Don't you care about my family? Don't you care about my bank account? Don't you care about... You ever said this? Jesus, don't you care? Don't you see me? Look what I'm going through. I'm all alone. And Martha is talking with Jesus at the same time. She's talking with God, right? Jesus is God. Martha's talking with Jesus, so she's talking with God. And what do we call that? Prayer. She's praying, and this prayer, this conversation with God is filled with exclamation points. It's filled with stress. It's filled with a whole lot of stuff, right? But it's honest. It's a conversation with God, and God accepts it. God will receive it. She believes that her whole worth, her whole value is for nothing now. God, don't you see me? Don't you value me? And we take that feeling now, and Jesus is going to respond to her. And we take this response, and we're like, that sounds really callous. But on the surface, we're like, yeah, I know what he's trying to do. I know he's trying to encourage her. I know he's trying to help her, but it sounds so harsh. Right? It says this. This is Jesus' response to Martha. Martha, Martha, the Lord answered, you are worried and upset about many things. Hey, all right, real quick question. How many of you, if you want to raise your hand, you can. How many of you have a life verse? Anybody have a life verse? So a life verse, a few of you, a life verse, you don't have to be shy about it, by the way. It's okay. A life verse is that verse that we've latched onto. We've kind of made it personal. Say, this is my mission with God, or this is the way I view God sees me. This is how I want to relate to God. A life verse, okay? How many of you can say this is kind of, we're kind of holding on to this as our life verse right now? 41, you are worried and upset about many things. A little too on the nose? This is like Martha's life verse. You are worried and upset about so many things. How many things are you and I worried and upset about right now? How many things are taking us and distracting? A little too on the nose here, but the truth is life sometimes just feels like a landslide, and we can't get away from it, right? It just feels like everything is overwhelming us, and we can't get out of it. We are worried and consumed with so many things. God, don't you see me? Do you not understand what I'm going through? And everything in life gets skewed. And things will never settle down, and we struggle and struggle and struggle because there's so many things causing fear. And Jesus tells us, he says, here's the deal, verse 42. But few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. Look, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to tell Mary to get up and help you. Because Mary's chosen what was right. The one thing in all of this stuff where she can find her value, what's necessary right now. That hurts. It hurts to read. Martha's entire value and worth is set on serving. And who was she serving? Jesus. You have a gift. You have a talent, a skill, maybe your job, your family, whatever. Like, I've been serving you, Jesus. I am using the gifts and talents you have gave me, the smarts, the wisdom, the skills you have gave me to serve you in this area. Don't you see me? You seem to be ignoring me, and it doesn't feel like it matters to you, and I'm struggling. Everything is overwhelming. Where are you? Now, to be honest, if I would tell you, if Jesus were here, like we'll say, hey, Tuesday night, Jesus is making an appearance. Come hang out. We're going to sit here. We're just going to sit here with Jesus. I guarantee you we're not going to fill this room. Why? Because we're busy. We're fulfilling our purpose, who we are. We're using our skills and our values. This is not a criticism. Because the idea of just sitting doesn't really go well with us. We would have a hard time filling up this room. But what Mary was doing was more than just sitting. She was showing her dependence on Jesus. She was sitting and listening for the voice of God. And that's a hard thing to understand because she's realizing where her true value and worth comes from. So this leads me to a question. Am I working against God, apart from God, or with God? See, working against God is really, really easy. Working against God is just like, I'm going to do whatever I want, wherever I want, however I want. It doesn't really matter. Sure, there might be some things in the Bible or Christianity that God probably says, there's probably a better way, but I'm going to do whatever I want. That's easy. And you have the freedom to do that. Okay? The other part, can you leave that up for a second, Corinne? Thank you. The other part is, are we apart from God? Being apart from God is a little more sneaky. Because many of us will say, I am with God, I believe in God, I've accepted Christ, but I am apart from God, meaning that I'm not bringing God into the skills and the gifts and the talents and life that I've got. We like to give God a little bit of control, and a lot of us will say, look, why doesn't God just do this for me? Why can't he answer this for me? Why won't he open the door for me, right? We want God, when there's a life-altering, life-changing decision for us, we like to delegate. God, open a door. Why won't God just show me? We like to delegate that stuff. And then when things go bad, we also like to blame God, right? We do. And then when things are good, we're like, whew, I dodged that bullet, right? It's sneaky being apart from God because we say we believe in God, we follow God, but then very practically and pragmatically, we have a hard time. We say this is where God is, or this is not where God is, and we're living apart from God. And it starts where we find our value. Are we with God? Mary was with God. She understood where it was. Because what is Martha doing? Martha's doing her absolute best. Martha gets a bad rap, but she's doing her absolute best with everything that she has. Many of you are incredibly smart. All right, all of you. That sounded really mean. I apologize. Get back. So you're really talented, really smart, skilled at what you do. And a lot of times we say we're going to use this for the kingdom of God. We're going to use this for the glory of God. And that's exactly what Martha was doing. She's using all of her skills to serve Jesus, and where did it leave her? It left her depressed. It left her lonely. It left her called out in front of everybody. It lost her focus. God, don't you see me? God, where are you? What about you? What about you? If tomorrow morning you woke up and whatever defines you, who you are, personality, job, family, money, whatever it is that defines you, like if people say, Bob is this. I know Bob because of that. Tomorrow morning you woke up and that's all gone. Would you have any worth or value in your head? Would you see yourself of having any value in society? Because this is kind of where Martha was. Everything was taken away. You woke up this morning and says, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do now. Everything about me is over. Everything about me, I don't know where it's at. How great our family is, how great our marriage is, how big our bank account is, making the starting position on a sports team, whatever it is. All of that is gone. And that fear of failure and that fear of rejection starts to take over. and we start to change the words in our head, because by society and oftentimes by the church, we have been told what the value we have in life is dictated by your womanhood, your masculinity, your job, how many hours you give to the church, how much you donate to the community. We have been told by society and other people that this is what matters. This is who you are. This is what you're going to be defined at. And we bought into it. And Martha has bought into what defines her. And it's doing good. She's serving Jesus, but she found her worth in the serving and not in the Jesus. Don't buy into what society and what others are telling you. Now, if we are going to answer this question, we need to look at how we're going to be able to stand up against it. How we can say that I'm not going to accept your rejection right now. How can we do that? Well, there's this guy named David in the Bible, in the book of Psalm. And Psalm is in the middle of your Bible. You open it up, there's probably Psalm. Okay, so Psalm 139, he wrote this beautiful poem. We're going to get there. And this, he struggled with this identity. He struggled with talking about where his purpose is. Now, as our kids grow older, one of the things that we learned, we're old and outdated, but as they started to come of age, we discovered two things. One, the more things change, the more they stay the same. They were looking for self-worth. They were looking for identity. Who am I? What am I about? Where, relationships. We all deal with that. We've all been through it as a kid. Many of us as an adults, we still struggle with it. Finding our place in the workplace. We find ourselves with friend circles, in our marriages, we still struggle with that. So our kids were doing this. The other thing that we learned was more things change, more they stay the same, but it's done differently. It's not wrong, it's just different. And one of the things that we learned was through like social media, through different apps and technology. Here's an example. So on some of the apps, if there's a color indication, see, all these young people are going to be like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Everybody else behind them, okay, so I will do my best. On some of these apps in their communication, if they would send a message and they could look at the indicator that the person either received it, didn't receive it, they looked at it, didn't look at it, and are they responding? So on some of these apps, there's this little colored dot or whatever, right? Am I saying this right? Okay, see, I'm old. And what we would hear, our kids would tell us, they left me on what color? Red. Red. They left me on, see, I'm getting old. They left me on red. What are the other colors? Red, blue, purple. Wait, say it again, Abby. It depends. See, I don't even know what that means. It depends if it's filled in or not. So this is what we're trying to figure out. They're looking for their meaning. They're looking for their purpose. They're looking for their value, and they're having conversations with people. They left me on red, blue, pink, whatever. I don't know. But it's real. And old people, we can laugh, but the fact is, we do the same thing. Why haven't they responded to my email? Okay, so kids, that's something you send on a computer and it goes out. Why haven't they sent me, why haven't they responded to my, you're really not going to get this? Why haven't they responded to my letter? Okay, that's something you put a stamp on, put it in the post office, right? So we do the same thing. It doesn't matter how old. We are all trying to find our purpose. We're all trying to find, where do we fit in society? Where do I fit in this relationship and that relationship? We're trying to identify it. Every single one of us does this. All right, I went on a tangent. All right. Anyways, David was trying to go through this as well. David was trying to figure out how we're going to do this, going through the statuses, right? How do I determine my value and who God is, how God sees me, and all the things that society, his society, Martha's society, your society, these young people's society, are telling us that matter. Because we're told what matters, we're told who we are by everything else. How do I clear out that mud and muck and focus on who God says we are? Because we've bought into a lie that we are defined by X, Y, or Z. Martha says, I am defined, my value, my purpose in serving, which is not a bad thing. This is not a sin issue. We like sin issues. Sin issues are easy to identify and judge people on. this is not a sin issue. She found her value in that, and she was serving Jesus while she was doing it. David is struggling with the whole thing, and so in Psalm 139, David writes about what defines us. How do we do this? Do we have the relationship? All right, don't buy in the system. Let's look at this. Psalm 139, we're just going to start at verse 1. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit, when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. You hem me in behind and before you lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. So how do we defy fear and rejection? How do we define fear of failure? How can we defy this? First thing that David says is that God is everywhere. God is absolutely everywhere. This is the starting point in defying fear of rejection and failure. And it seems like, okay, preacher boy, that seems pretty basic. I get it. But very pragmatic, we don't live this way. We don't live as if God is everywhere with us. Because God is everywhere and knows everything about you. And then, based on society has told us, we hear that and say, oh, great. If God is everywhere, God knows everything about me, then he knows how terrible I am. Then he knows how much of a failure I am. He knows how much I've been rejected. And if God sees that, I don't want God to see it. This is not encouraging on some level, but the truth is we can't escape God. I think that's pretty awesome and scary. But we can't escape God. God is everywhere. He writes this and he knows it all. All of these things, they're too wonderful to comprehend. Now, I want to remind us who David was. We have an idolized view of David. David wasn't all he's cracked up to be. This is the same guy who sexually assaulted and raped Bathsheba. This is the same guy whose whole kingdom was probably belonged on like reality television. Like his first son, Amnon, he was next to be king. He raped his sister because of a fantasy he had. David turned a blind eye, didn't care. His second son couldn't stand his father. Couldn't stand the way his older son reacted. And so he kills his older brother. And he pushes David out of the kingdom. Now the second son is in the kingdom, in the throne. David is outside of the kingdom. David gathers his army, comes back and pushes the son out. And guess what? He kills his son as he's retreating. This leaves son 3 and 4. 3 and 4 are hanging out. They are fighting like, hey, who's going to take over? Leads son 4 to kill son 3. Meanwhile, the baby born to David through rape dies at childbirth. David decided to kill Bathsheba's husband while he was at war fighting for David. David did not have his stuff together. But yet the Bible says this is a man after God's own heart. I've struggled lining that up. But part of it is because David says, look, I know God sees everything I've done. God knows everything about me. God is with me in all things. He is with me, and I'm going to be with him. Here's a guy. His legacy is so blemished, but God, you know everything. You see everything. And I'm going to give that to you, and I'm willing to accept it. He continues on this. How do we get to the place of value and worth? Verse 7. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go to the heavens, you're there. If I make my bed in the depths, you're there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me and the light become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like day, for darkness is as a light to you. All right, so not only does God know everything about you, God will never leave you alone. There is no place you can go that God is not there. And that's fine, but it leads me to this question. Why? If God is big, if God is the creator, God has done all this stuff, why does he care about little old me? Why does he care about you? Why does he care about the collective us? Why is it that the God is so personal about me and you and the collective us? If God is so big, why? Look at what David says, verse 13. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you. When I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth, your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book. Before one of them came to be, how precious to me are your thoughts, God. How vast is the sum of them. Were I to count them, they would be outnumbered the grains of sand. When I awake, I am still with you. We ask, why does God care? It's because God created you and formed you. God made you perfect, warts and all. God knows and is with you because the DNA, the conception, all of that stuff, he was there and he saw you. He cares for you, and he is with you, and he will never leave you alone. Now, this leads to a second question. This one was very difficult for me sometimes. It might be difficult for you. Okay, if God is with me, God is everywhere, right? God won't leave me alone. Why then do I have all this pain? Why do I have the struggle? Why do I have to suffer? Why is it this way? If God is with me, God cares for me. Why? And David starts to answer this question in Psalm 139, verse 19. God, if only you. You ever asked that question? God, if only you would have shown up, then this wouldn't have happened. God, if only you would have healed this person, it would have been better. God, if only you would have removed this person from my life. God, if only. You ever had some if onlys? I've got several. I've got several if onlys. God, if only you would have done this. Now, I don't know, frankly, if I can help you a lot with these in this setting. I really don't know if I can help you. Because when something goes wrong, we're quick again. We say, God, it's your fault. If something goes great, we accept it. And it's very, very difficult. And we like the adage, everything happens for a reason. I don't know if I can get behind it fully. Everything happens for reasons. Sometimes we made a really good choice. Sometimes you make a really stupid choice. There's a reason behind what happened, and God allows that to happen. God gives you the freedom to choose those choices. God has, and God is sitting there because the truth is many of us have decisions and ramifications, good or bad. God can step in and take over. We like that thought. We like that idea. But on the practical things, it's like, it's all right, God, I'll take care of it. Because where do we draw the line? Is there cancer? Is it a cold? Is there an accident? Is there a speeding ticket? Is it stubbing my toe? Is it on a deathbed? Where do we draw the line? We say, God, take this over now. And so God is with us. God was there. God sees us and what God gives. Because where do we draw the line? We no longer have freedom in life that God has given us if we say he can do it, he should do it all, or he will do it all. Can God do it? Sure. God is God. God can do whatever he wants. God is God. But otherwise, we'd just be puppets. Look at verse 19 now. This is his if only. If only you, God, would slay the wicked. I love that line. Away from me, you who are bloodthirsty. They speak of you with evil intent. Your adversaries misuse your name. Do I not hate those who hate you, Lord, and abhor those who are in rebellion against you? I have nothing but hatred for them. I count them my enemies. Whoo! If only, God, you would have get rid of those people in my life. Then things would be good. Haven't I served you? Remember what Martha was doing? Don't I love you? If only, God, you would get rid of those people in my life, things would be fine. Which leads us to our next point, is the fact that God is still there when life seems unfair. You ever have life seem unfair? Man, it doesn't make a lot of sense. No matter how we feel, God is always there. I was watching a movie a while ago, and it was a war movie, and the soldier got hurt, and they had to bring him in, and the medic's caring for him. And the medic tells him very clearly, he says, look, in order to heal you, in order to stop the bleeding, I have to cause you more pain. I have to cause you more pain in order to heal you. And as his buddies are holding him down, strapping him down, the medic goes to work, and the guy screams out in agony. And maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't, but there's a picture where it's like, God is with us, and God sits with us. And he sees that, he experiences that. And he says, I am right there with you. I am right there with you in all of this stuff. Because maybe you have the same thing. Maybe there wasn't a medical thing, but maybe there was some abuse. Maybe there's a significant decision. Maybe there was some hurt, a job loss. And you're like, God, where were you in the midst of all of this stuff? And God is telling you, I'm sitting right there. I am sitting right there. And I'm agonizing with you. It's not pleasant, and my heart is breaking because the person who did this to you chose to use their freedom to cause evil and hurt. And my heart is breaking with you. How does he respond? Verse 23, search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there's any offensive way in me and lead me in the way of everlasting. God, you know everything about me. You know my anxious thoughts. You know where I've been, what I've done. You know everything. Help me to sit and rest because I've given you all of my what ifs. If we're going to defy our fears and our failures and rejections, we need to understand that our value and our worth is not found in who we are, but whose we are. Mary understood this. Martha lost sight of it. We need to understand whose we are, not who we are. I can't accept your rejection right now. I can't accept your failures right now because that's not where I find my value. It's not where I find my worth. And how do we practice the presence of God real quick? One, we follow God. We obey Christ. It seems really easy on the surface, right? We follow Christ's commands, but because a life apart from Christ is really, really easy to do. It's like, I got it. I got it. I'm going to take care of it. But next, we need to accept, this is going to be hard for you, how Jesus sees me. We look at our lives like God knows everything about me, and I look at myself like, I'm a piece of garbage. He sees me like that. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He sees you as the perfect thing that he helped form and create and shape. He couldn't love you anymore. And I can pick on my kids, but because I used to be a kid, and I is dumb, but they're going to do things that are going to be disappointing. They're going to do things like, really? Hopefully it's not too bad. But my love for my children will never change based on a decision they'd make. Jesus sees you, look, you make these decisions, good, bad, ugly, or otherwise. My love for you will never change. Are you sitting at my feet? Are you seeing who I am? We need to accept the fact that Jesus sees me in this way. And it's so hard to do because we can't see ourselves in this way. The fear of failure and rejection. And a lot of you can't get over that because oftentimes we say God is our heavenly Father. And unfortunately, we've had some really terrible examples of what an earthly father looks like. So we have a hard time saying, God is our Father? Yep, nope, I'm out. And I don't know if I can help you in this setting, again, but except the fact that somehow, how can we see God through or around the hurt that an earthly man, earthly father has given us? It's not easy to do. Because until we have a better, healthy understanding of God as a father, or there's healthier men or fathers in our lives, we're going to struggle with this. There's this thing author Tiffany DeBartolo calls a God-shaped hole. And each of us has a God-shaped hole inside of us. And we're looking to fill that up. We're looking to have it filled up with something. And we do that with all these things of society telling us who we are, what we're worth, and where our value comes from. And what God is saying is, like, find your value here. David and Mary both understood my purpose, my value is found at sitting at the feet of Jesus, looking at myself the way he sees me. I can do all of this stuff. I'm very talented, very skilled. And in fact, God gave me a lot of this stuff. And I'm going to use that for his kingdom. But that's not where I'm going to find my value. I'm going to find my value in whose I am, not who I am. And the last thing, remember Jesus loves you. Remember Jesus loves you. When was the last time you just existed and understood that the presence of God was with you? That you just allowed God to be present and say, I know the way you see me. And receive that. When was the last time you were able to do that? Because no paycheck, no weight gain or weight loss, muscle building, muscle loss, age, whatever, is going to change how Jesus loves you. I'm sorry, society, I can't accept your rejection right now. I can't, because my value and my worth is found elsewhere. I'm actually going to reject your rejection. Thank you very much. What a gift. Let's pray. Gracious God, thank you for your presence with us. I admit it's so hard to see me through your eyes. Because I see myself through my eyes, and there are times like I don't like who I am. And the fact that you see that, I struggle with, because I think you see me that way too. But help me understand that that's what society tells me I need to do to be successful, to be good, I need to have the best home, the best job, the best checkbook, the best car, whatever it is. Help me to sit at your feet and be in your presence, to listen to your voice. This isn't telling me not to serve you. This isn't telling me not to use the gifts that you've given me. It's just a matter of that's not where I'm going to find my value and my worth. So fear, rejection, I can't accept you today. You have no place in my life today. Because my place is found in Jesus. Where that cross, where that blood, that love, as the song says, ran red, and your forgiveness is found. God, thank you for that. Father, it's in your name that we give you this afternoon. We love you. Amen. All right, we're going to dismiss in just a little bit different. Again, would you stand and join us? All right. If you know it, I want you to sing it loud. We're not going to sing the whole thing. Jesus loves me. Can we do this? Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong. They are weak, but he is strong. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so. All right, little one, know that Jesus loves you.